All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get started today. This is Miss Sprunger, and it is Wednesday, September 16th, and today we're going to be talking about two-step equations a little bit more. 1 second. All right, Jaden, you in? Your internet's being a little weird.
Hello.
Hello?
Internet is acting terrible.
Okay.
The screen is blurry and freaking. You're lagging.
Just so you know, I post all of the lessons on YouTube and I post them on the Google Classroom page. So if for any reason your internet's not working while we're in class, you can always try and watch them later. I know that's not as convenient, but I'm sorry that your internet's not working. Even it doesn't work at the school sometimes too. So we all have stuff we're dealing with. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So yesterday in class we talked about doing two-step equations. We did an intro to one-step, but today we're gonna talk a little bit more about two-step equations. So we've got 9t plus 28 equals 60. So my first step is going to be to draw that, the wall, that's what I call it, draw the wall or draw the line down the equal sign. And that just reminds me to do whatever I do to one side, I've got to do to the other side. So next, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to highlight just to show you what I'm talking about. So in equations, we've typically got variable terms and constant terms. Now, constant terms are going to be in yellow right here. So you'll see my constants are the numbers that don't have variables attached to them. My variable terms are my terms with the letter or the variable attached to it. So that term in green is 9t. So t is a variable. So I'm going to highlight that in green. So my goal is to deal with the variable term last. So I want to get that variable by itself, but before I can even do that, I have to get all the constants to one side of the equal sign. So I need to move that 28 to the right side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use the opposite of addition. So I'm going to use the opposite operation, which is subtraction. I'm going to subtract 28 from either side of the equal sign. I'm going to bring down my 9t. So I've got 9t equals, and then 60 minus 28. So 60 minus 28 equals 32. Then we know when we've got a one second. When we've got a coefficient right next to a variable, they're being multiplied. So 9t is the same thing as 9 times t, so 9 times t. So we're going to undo that. So on both sides, we're going to use the opposite of multiplication, which is division. So I'm going to divide both sides by 9. Oh gosh, what did I do? All right. Okay, well, my smart notebook doesn't like me today. That's going to cancel. I'm going to be left with t equals 32 divided by 9. Which gives me 3.5 repeating. All right. This one on the right side is actually pretty difficult. It's a little bit different than the one we did yesterday, the ones we did yesterday. So I'm going to draw my wall down the middle. So again, I want to deal with the variable term and the constant term last, or the variable term last. So I've got v plus 9 divided by 3 equals 8. So I see plus 9 next to the v. So my initial thought is, okay, I want to get rid of that 9. But actually, sorry, that's supposed to be a parenthesis. Actually, that v plus 9 is a, I guess you can see me. That v plus 9 is an expression. So I want to get rid of that 3 first. So I know that this bar right here represents division. So I'm going to go ahead and undo. So I can use the opposite operation to undo division. and I'm gonna multiply both sides by 3 to get rid of this dividing by 3. So that's gonna cancel. I can go ahead and rewrite v plus 9 because I got rid of v plus 9 divided by 3 because I multiplied both sides by 3. And then 8 times 3 is gonna give me 24. Next, again, I want to get v all by itself. Right now I've got v plus 9, so I can go ahead and do the opposite of addition, which is subtraction, and I can subtract 9 from both sides. So v is going to equal 24 minus 9, which is going to give me 15. All right, if you have any questions along the way, make sure you're stopping me. Again, this is something that we've worked on a couple times yesterday and a little bit the day before. So advice for you guys, make sure you're drawing the wall. So if you've got a problem like 2x equals 10, make sure you're drawing that wall down the middle to make sure you're doing the same steps to both sides. Make sure you're staying nice and organized. Again, I'll color code different steps for you guys so you can see when I'm changing, when I'm doing something different. Again, stay organized when you're writing down your own work. All right.
You're skipping over a lot of words. Like it's lagging. I don't. My internet is unstable.
Your internet's unstable. I'm sorry. You can try refreshing. You can try rejoining the Zoom call. I don't know. All right, so for this next example, I've got 50 equals negative 4 plus 3x. I've got to draw my wall. That's my first step. I'm going to draw my wall down the middle. Again, this is a two-step equation. So there's 2 steps that I have to take to get to my variable. Because again, I want to solve for x. So x is my missing variable, so I want to solve for x. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight my constants just to show you what I'm talking about. So when I talk about a constant, I'm talking about a number that doesn't have a variable in it. When I'm talking about a variable term, I'm talking about the term that has the x or the y or the letter in it. So what we're solving for. So again, we want to save the variable term for last. So step 1, step 1, I'm going to go ahead and move my constants to one side so I can begin isolating that 3x.
I'm back in here.
You're back in here? Okay. Hopefully it works.
Okay.
All right. So I've got to add 4 to both sides. So minus 4 plus 4 cancels. I'm going to be left with, I'm going to write this in a different color. I'm going to be left with 54, and I got that from adding 50 and 4, equals, I'm going to bring down my 3x. Now I'm on to my step 2. So again, we're working on 2-step equations where we take 2 steps to figure out what x is or what the missing variable is. So I've got 54 equals 3x. To get x by itself, I know that when I have a number right next to a variable, they're being multiplied, so it's 3 times x. So in order to get rid of that multiplication, I'm going to divide both sides by 3. So I'm going to take 54 divided by 3. And that's going to give me 18. And then 3 divided by 3 cancels, so I'm just left with x. So x is going to give me 18. All right. For the second one, it's a little bit weird, but I will show you what, because we have this weird -6 in front, which is kind of strange. Sorry, I'm going to put it in yellow because I've been putting constants in yellow. So as far as this goes, we've got our variable term, x over 4, and then we've got our constant terms. We've got -6 and we've got -5. I want to draw my wall down the middle. So I'm going to draw that down the middle so I can remember to do each step on both sides. Next, I'm going to move you over here. Excuse me. All right. Next, I want to get my constants on one side and I want to deal with my variable term last. So I'm going to go ahead and move this -6 over to this side. Now that is a negative term, -6. So I'm going to use the opposite of a negative term, which would be a positive term. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides. Again, this is my step 1. I'm adding 6 to both sides. That's going to cancel. I'm going to be left with x over 4 equals -5 plus 6. So I showed you guys in previous lessons, sorry, gotta find my camera. You guys have a negative button. It's next to your decimal point. So when you enter -5 plus 6, you should get +1. So make sure you're practicing entering those in your calculator. All right, now at this point, we just need to get x by itself. This is a one-step equation because we already did step 1. So step 2, I know this bar right here, so it's x divided by 4 equals 1. So this bar represents division. Well, the opposite of division is multiplication. So I'm gonna multiply both sides by 4, and I'm doing that to cancel this division by 4, okay? So x is gonna equal 1 times 4, which is 4. All right, and again, stop me if you have any questions at any point. Make sure, and we'll have time at the end of the Zoom call to ask questions as well. All right, did I just do that one? I did just do that one, so we already did that. Okay, we're gonna work on this one right here. I'm gonna move that over a little bit. Okay. So this one is 9x minus 7 equals -7. So again, our goal is to get the variable by itself. So I need to get, I'm going to identify my variable term first. So my variable term is 9x, and constants are -7 and -7. I'm going to draw my wall down the middle. So first things first, I need to get rid of that -7. So again, I want to get all of my constants on this side so I can worry about the variable term last. So step 1, I'm going to go ahead and do the opposite of -7, which is going to be +7 or +7. So I'm going to add 7 to both sides to get rid of that. I'm just moving it over to the right. I'm going to rewrite, I'm going to bring down my 9x. So 9x equals, and then -7 plus 7. If you did want to write that in your calculator, you could. You guys know where the negative button is now that I showed you. It's right here. But -7 plus 7 actually just gives us 0. So 9x equals 0. Sorry, that's a weird 0. There we go. Now we need to get x by itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide both sides by 9. And I'm doing that because I know that when I've got a number right next to a variable, they're being multiplied. So I'm going to undo that by dividing both sides by 9. So x is going to be 0 divided by 9, which some people are like, is it 0? Is it 1? So 0 divided by 9 in your calculator is going to give you 0. 0 divided by anything is going to give you 0. All right. Number 4, we've got 0 equals 4 plus n over 5. So this one's a little bit different just because we've got the variable on the right side instead of the left side. I'm going to move this guy over a little bit. Okay, I'm going to identify my, and you guys don't have to do this, I just do this so you guys understand what I'm talking about. I've got my 0 and my 4 are my constant terms. And this n over 5 is my variable term. And I identify those so that I remember I need to do that. Any step involving the variable, I need to save that for last because that's going to be my last step. So at my first step, I want to get this 4 to the left side. So I can do, it's a positive term, it's a positive 4, so I can do that. So step 1, I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides of the equal sign. And I'm doing that because my end goal is to get n by itself, so that variable. But I want to get that green term by itself first. So I'm going to get rid of that 4 by subtracting 4 from both sides. So I'm going to rewrite 0 minus 4 is just negative 4. And then I'm going to bring down n over 5. All right. Well, now all I have to do is I just need to get n by itself. So right now n is being divided by 5. So something divided by 5 gives me negative 4. So again, just to review, this bar right here represents division. So the opposite of division is multiplication. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply, multiply both sides by 5. So that's step 2. I'm going to multiply both sides by 5 to get n by itself. So n is going to equal negative 4 times 5, or 5 times negative 4. So in your calculators, make sure you're practicing typing in these negative numbers. Negative 4 times 5 in your calculator is going to give you negative 20. And that makes sense because if we look at this right here, n divided by 5, so negative 20 divided by 5 would give us negative 4, so that did work out. Any questions about this one? All right. Oh, that's the one we just did. Come on. Go away. All right. Go ahead and try this one on your own, Jaden. So go ahead and this one right here, go ahead and get that one written down. I'll give you about 2 minutes to take a look at that. And then if you're just like totally lost, because again, I can't see you in person, like face to face, so I can't tell if you're struggling, if you're getting it. So just make sure that you're communicating that with me. You can either type it in the chat or ask. But go ahead and work on that problem. So 10 plus 9n equals negative 170. All right, we are going to go over this. So I'm going to draw my wall or my line down the middle. So again, even if we're not highlighting, if we are highlighting, we want to deal with whatever term that the variable is in. We want to deal with that last. So if I'm looking at this, 9n has the variable, so I want to deal with the 9n last. So the first thing I'm going to do then is get rid of this 10. So it's a positive 10 or a plus 10. So I'm going to go ahead and step 1. Step 1, I'm going to go ahead and subtract 10 from both sides. Because again, I want to get this 9n by itself. All right, so I'm going to rewrite. I'm going to bring down my 9n. Sorry, this is kind of hard sometimes. 9n equals and then negative 170 minus 10. So with those negatives, it can be kind of weird. Make sure that you're entering negatives in your calculator. I don't want you to get like a quiz question wrong or something because you're not entering it incorrectly. So negative 170 minus 10 is going to give us negative 180. All right. Now I'm on to step 2. I know when I've got a number right next to a variable like 9n, I'm going to divide them to find what n is because those are being multiplied. So 9n is the same thing as 9 times n. So I'm going to divide using the opposite of multiplication. I'm going to divide both sides by 9. So n is going to give me negative 180 divided by 9. Again, practice putting these in your calculator. Negative 180 divided by 9. And that's going to give us negative 20. And if you ever get an answer different than me, make sure you're letting me know because sometimes I can help you enter something in the calculator if you're doing something a little bit not correct, or maybe I make mistakes too. So maybe I'm entering something in wrong. All right. I'm going to go ahead and do the second problem over here. So this one, so we've got 1 equals x minus 10 divided by 8. So this is one of those weird ones that we saw in our do now today. So if I'm going to highlight this just so you can see what I mean. So we've got x minus 10 is going to be, I'm going to consider that our variable term, and I'll tell you guys why. Because it's its own expression. So the whole expression x minus 10 is being divided by 8. It's not just x, it's not just negative 10. X minus 10 is being divided by 8. So I just highlighted that whole expression because I need to get rid of that 8 first. And I need to get rid of it first because if I were to add 10 to both sides, it would just mess me up completely because I know I do want to get rid of everything. I want to get x by itself, but before I can even get rid of that negative 10, I have to get rid of that divided by 8 because I want to get that whole expression by itself first before I can start solving. And you'll kind of see what I mean in a second. So I need to move this 8 to this side. So I need to move the 8 to the left side. Whoops. So we know that this bar right here, let's see. Okay, Jaden, that's all right. So let's see, I got 16, so you got 16 on this problem. So negative 180 divided by 9, sorry, I'm backtracking now. Negative 180 divided by 9. So again, which one are you talking about? Okay, all right. So again, if your internet's acting crazy, it might just be easier to watch the video, but I do want you to be able to work with me. So you can either stay on or go back and watch it. But all right, going back to the second problem, I've got 1 equals x minus 10 divided by 8. So again, I need to get rid of this divided by 8. So this bar right here represents division. So I'm going to use the opposite of division. I'm going to multiply both sides by 8. So that's going to cancel. I'm going to be left with x minus 10 equals 8 times 1 or 1 times 8. Sorry, I know I wrote that backwards. Now I've got 8 equals x minus 10. Now I can just do, and sorry, I forgot to write my step. That was step 1. Step 2, I've got x minus 10. I'm going to go ahead and add 10 to both sides because I want to get x isolated by itself. All right. So 8 plus 10, remember to do this step right here. 8 plus 10 equals 18. So x is going to equal 18. And then finally, before we end class today, it's important to me that you guys know that even though you're remote, it's still important that we're doing algebra. When are we ever going to use this? I know that like I used to ask that when I was in the 8th grade, which actually wasn't too long ago. I'm a pretty new teacher. But when are we ever going to use this? So I wrote you guys an example of like some situation where I could be using this type of math. So again, you guys don't need to solve this. I just want to show you what we're learning. So this says, Miss Sprunger took a taxi home from the airport. The taxi fare was $2 per mile. So $2 per, whenever you see per in a word problem, that typically means multiplication. So $2 per mile. And again, I just want you guys to watch this for right now. She gave the driver a tip of $5. So I gave him $5 extra. Miss Sprunger paid a total of $50. So I just wrote a two-step equation. We could solve for M, which again, in a real world situation, algebraically, that variable is typically we're solving, it means something. So we're solving for a specific purpose. So we're not just doing math to be math robots. We're doing it to be critical thinkers and making connections, discovering patterns, all that stuff that it says on the right in that picture. But let's say, for example, I took a taxi home from the airport and I only live like 5 miles away from the airport. And I know that if I'm getting charged 2 miles per mile and I only live 5 miles away, or $2 per mile and I only live 5 miles away, I know I shouldn't be getting charged $50, but he charges me $50. So then I could use this type of math to check and say, no, I should actually be paying this, not $50. So you can use something like this to solve real world situations. And we're going to talk more about that in the future. Before we end, I do want to show you guys your Google Classroom page because I just want to make sure we're all on the same page about that. So, oops. All right, so if you go to, hopefully you guys can still see my screen. If you go to class, so if you go to stream, this is what you would see right when you logged on, but you'll click on classwork. Each of my modules or my weeks are broken up by date. So 9/14 and 9/18, that's this week. So I post each of my lessons on YouTube. So you're able to watch me go over whatever I go over that day. And you can skip around, do whatever if you move faster or slower, however you want to do that. So things with a star in front of them are graded. So you've got an exit ticket, which is just 2 questions. It's a 1- and 2-step equation. So that's going to be due tomorrow. And then you've got an interest inventory. So make sure that you are doing that. That is just a get to know you type of thing. So these 2 things are due soon. And then we've got some 2-step equation practice. This is going to be, let's see. So well, I guess it won't let me enter my information, but you're going to enter that you're in my class, but then you're going to enter your answers for different 2-step equation problems. And this can be practice, so I can see how you're doing because again, I can't see all of you. So make sure you get that entered in for the week. Zoom links are always going to be posted here. So tomorrow's our last day of class. And then I will post a new link. So please email me with any questions. I know this is weird and some people are logging on some days, some people are logging on the other days. So just make sure you're keeping up. Email me if there's anything I can do to help you be successful. And I will see you all tomorrow for class at 9:32. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing and have a great day, everybody. Bye.